Do you know my own name? I'll tell you my name when you ask. How many of us were here last year? I attended Moving with the Cheese 1.0 last year. I see one hand there. Any other person? Another hand. So we have returning members. You did something good in your life. You attended online. Yeah, we can manage. So before we move ahead, I would just like to hear from you. What made you come back this year? Right? Because you could have decided to not come back. And I'm seeing some new faces, new worshippers, as I'll call you today. So I'm going to ask you to tell us why you came back to Moving with the Cheese this year. You could have stayed in your house. Today is Saturday, Owambe, right? But you decided to come. There's no Owambe, but still tell us why you came.
I can say praise God, Abby. Okay. Praise God. Do I have to introduce myself, sir?
If you want to. Okay. I think you should.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ayajai Faith Fermi. I'm a tax consultant. Okay, why I came back for Moving the Cheese 2.0. I think one thing that all the speakers said in Moving the Cheese 1.0 was that the cheese is constantly moving. And it's either you get left behind or you chase after the cheese. So I'm in 2.0 to chase after the cheese.
Did you hear her? She's chasing after cheese. And she's a tax consultant. Two people that I have love-hate relationship with. Do you want to guess? You know one already. Do you want to guess the other one? Who knows? So me, I'm not an entrepreneur. How do people call it? Entrepreneur. I'm not one of those people. I'm not yet a founder. I they work, they pay me salary. So you should guess people I don't like, but I have to love them. HR people. If there's any HR person in the house, no apologies to you. Has HR shown you something before? Especially when you want to enter the organization, you are having recruitment. Who knows? Experience, testimonials. And you know the place that they always like coming out to show themselves. Do you know? When it reach time to negotiate your money, they'll start remembering some policies that existed in 1920. God bless them, and tax people. At the end of the month, check what your organization remits on your behalf as tax. Some of you should be getting chieftaincy title in Lagos. I love tax people. So I'm going to come to my brother to tell us why he came to Moving with the Cheese 2.0 after coming to Moving with the Cheese last year.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tola, and I'm a real estate professional. I see Moving with the Cheese as a platform that prepares us for what is coming. So we always say that the future is here, So I see Moving with the Cheese as that program that prepares us for what is coming, which is already here, right? And Moving with the Cheese 1.0 was it for me. And I didn't think it twice, for 2.0. So that's why I'm here again.
Let's clap for them now. So I think from all that they've said, I can conclude that it's going to be a program of value. And we're in church, so there's no way we did not bribe them to say all those things. Let's clap for the organizers as well. So one thing I'm sure of is that at the end of the day, you'd be able to get value, right, out of it. And personally for me, when I go to an event, I try not to have plenty of objectives. Some people might want to have multiple reasons why. I focus on one thing, ensure I do my best to achieve that one thing, so that tomorrow I'm not chasing many things. Maybe it's my own person, but I try to chase one thing at a time. And who knows, you might add, like Matthew 6:33 says, every other thing will be added onto you. And that every other thing, if you came here single, it might mean that you are living here unsingled. But who knows? Which is why we are going to go straight into the next activity. We are going to go around the room, speak to as many people as possible in the next 5 minutes, get to know them, who they are, what they do, and any other information you think might be important. So we have 5 minutes to do that. Your time has started. Amen. This is the calmest networking session I've ever seen in my life. We are done. No, it's due. Face me. God bless you. Amen. 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes already. And it's the calmest networking I've ever seen in my life. It was so calm that the media team had to come and meet me. That since there's nothing going on, they want to play music. It's not shout, but you were like, it's like you people were, it's like couples. What do you say? What? Professionals are the noisiest people I've ever met. Have you seen them? You see somebody wear suit, tie, everything, and he's quarreling conductor. And he's saying, have you not seen it before? And I was speaking with a friend that the experiences we see on Lagos Road every day, or even any part of Nigeria, every day, going to and fro, work, is enough to have like an entire documentary. And you'll be a bestseller. Do you agree? You don't agree? People don't, you work remote. Eh? You work remote. No wonder your skin is skinning. Sun is not touching you. So, who did we meet? Somebody new wants to share. You? Okay. You met a special person.
I met my brother-in-law. I met my in-law. The very first person I met with is from my husband's side. And he's a sailor. And he drafts a business proposal. So I'm so happy that I met him. He was the first person that I met. Yeah. Okay.
You met your in-law? Yes. Your own in-law, or it's English, and me, I did not go to school, so I struggle. Your brother-in-law, who did he marry? He married you. You married his brother. You know, I'm one of these people that don't understand how that in-law thing works. Because if you say somebody is my in-law, is it that you marry the person or the person marry you? Eh? You know now, make it easy. Explain like I'm 5. You met your in-law. The person that you marry, his brother. So you met your husband's brother. Is that not what she said? Yeah, I'm the one making this thing difficult. Somebody say, I met my brother-in-law. The person I marry is from there. That means you met your husband's brother. Yes or no? People too are confused. Who else wants to speak? Who is bold now? We are in a... But before the next person, we are streaming online. So across all our media channels, are we on YouTube? Are we on YouTube? We are on Mixlr, right? They are not streaming, but we are streaming, Sha. So send the link on Mixlr to your friend, family, loved ones, and every. And you can as well take pictures, share quotes from quotable quotes. You know, all those, you know, when somebody is speaking, instead of the tweet it. Don't just do and pass. No. Do run to Twitter, now X. Put it there. And, you know, use the hashtag MWTC or moving with the cheese 2.0. When you do so, tag TCN Yaba. If you also post anything, take pictures, videos, and you are posting on either Facebook, Instagram, or any other place, tag us as well, TCN Yaba, we would feature you. If you don't want to be featured, we'll not feature you, but we'll feature you. So use the hashtag MWTC or moving with the cheese 2.0, and God will bless you. Say amen. Who knows, when you do that, your employer will see that, this person is very, is working hard. Even your next employer might say, this person is godly, dedicated. I need you to manage my portfolio, like that tax consultant. So I'm moving next. Since people don't want to talk, I'll come to you. You must talk. Hello? Did you meet anyone? You came in late. Who came in early? Let me come this side. You remind me of Abubakar Sulaiman. You know, right? So who did you meet?
I met Kunle.
Who is Kunle?
Kunle is a DevOps engineer who has been in the field for about 4 years. He was not actually an IT person before, but just like we're here, moving with the cheese, he discovered the cheese den and he decided to follow it. And here we are together.
Okay, nice to meet you, Kunle, moving with the DevOps cheese. Maybe one day, if there's something I want to learn, is how to move with that tech cheese. The other day, Pastor was sharing of somebody that moved from HR to earning 100K USD. Was it 100 or 200? 100. $100,000. If I convert it with that exchange rate between February and March, the exchange rate, right? You have a headache. Who else? Who wants to speak? Let's share, interact. Let's not be this cold. Professionals are not gentle. Me, I'm not gentle when it comes to my work. Abi, on the days you say your work will speak for you is a lie. Is a what? Is a lie. The work will speak. Me, I will add amplifier. Hey, I'll bring megaphone, horn speaker, bring port. I will be drumming. As the work is speaking, I'm speaking. Abi? Why are you? You must hear one, right? If you do not hear the work that is speaking, you hear me that I am what? Speaking. So don't be silent. One more person. I'm coming to you. You came early. Who did you meet?
Good morning. I met Mr. Bamidele. He's an educational consultant and also into carer. And he took care of the aged. I am a social worker, and he has worked in so many places and is experiencing the care of the elderly to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, if you have your aged parents, we have one. Yeah, I'm his agent. You meet me. I can do all jobs. The only job that I've not been able to do is write code. But if you bring good money, code for you. So I'm his agent. I'm Mr. Bamidele's agent. Why are you shaking your head? I'm moving with the cheese now. He just said there's money. Did you not hear what he said? There's money there. Plenty money. My goal this year is to earn like that kind small 500,000. USD is not that earning. It's reducing now. Pounds. Amen. So we are going to go right in. Our first speaker is around, and she is somebody I respect. There are people that you look up to and you'll be like, God, one day I'll be what? I'll get there. And for me, it also makes me know that it's possible to what? Get there. Right? So she's someone that I respect, I look up to in every ramification. I'll just read her bio, which is very short. She's pitying us because if she gives us the full bio. We will not leave here today. So our first speaker is Olayinka Oyetunji, CFA, FC. If you don't know anyone, CFA, you've not heard of that. Who knows what CFA is? You know how strong it is. So if I say clap, I'm saying it again. Olayinka Oyetunji, CFA, FCA, ACA. So Olayinka Oyetunji is married and blessed with 3 kids. She is a chartered holder of the CFA Institute. She's a chartered accountant and a chartered stockbroker. She's an associate director with Ernst & Young, where she advises public and private sector clients in strategy and transactions. She has over 15 years experience brokering mergers and acquisitions, valuations, financial modeling, and due diligence, as well as infrastructure and public sector advisory. Olayinka is also a CFA lecturer and facilitates various finance-related courses and trainings. She is also a proficient public speaker and has presented at various platforms. She's a convener of an initiative called CLEAN, a mentoring and networking platform that uses storytelling to re-energize and inspire people. She currently serves as the chairman of the board of the Covenant Community Groups, and she is also a volunteer at the Gender Diversity of the CFA Society in Nigeria. She was the governor of the Work and Study Group of the Covenant Community Group before she became the chairman of the board, and an assistant pastor at TCN Ibadan. So with a resounding applause, let's welcome Mrs. Olayinka Oyetunji.
Good morning. I can't feel the energy. How to give me vibes, oh. Good morning. Good morning. First, I want to appreciate the leadership of TCN Yaba, Pastor Jessica and the team for the opportunity to be here. I don't take it for granted, and I appreciate them for giving me this invitation. And I also want to thank you for making our time this Saturday morning to have the conversation with us. I know it's because you are interested in building something, which is your career. And I hope we are going to have a good time. I thank Godwin, what should I put it? The spice in reading my profile. I was just like, hey, is that me? Okay, so we're going to go right in. I have a few slides. I will start by sharing more about myself. So please, What's Media, if you could help us with the slide 2. How are we doing today? You've met your neighbor, right? You've met your neighbor. Okay. I hope it's not like you just came to the hall and just sat down. You didn't say good morning to your neighbor. So can we have this slide? Okay, so I'll start with, whilst we are waiting for the slide to come up, I like Godwin. Godwin has given a brief about myself. Like he said, Olayinka, that's my preferred name. I'm married. I have 3 beautiful children. I'm a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University. Yes, thank you. And I'm a charter holder of the CFA Institute. I'm a chartered accountant and a chartered stockbroker. But before you say, she must be very brilliant. I'm not brilliant. All right. I started writing ICANN when I couldn't gain admission into the university. And my mates were already in 300 level. And I was just tired of sitting at home. I just wanted to leave the house every morning. That was what triggered it to start, writing ICANN. And by the time I started writing ICANN, I gained admission into the university. And I became a chartered accountant when I was 22 years old and in 200 level of the university. And the funny thing was that my first prize ever in life was from ICANN. Okay, my first prize ever was from ICANN. And in fact, when I got the when I got the notification that I won the prize, I thought may have made a mistake. And I had to, in fact, when I told my parents that ICANN has written me, that I got a prize, they were like, are you sure? And the reason why they asked, am I sure, was because I've already given you a background of how I started ICANN. I couldn't pass JAM, simple. I was always getting, it could be 160 or 180. And my father's rule was that if you don't get enough to gain your admission, everybody in my family finished from OAU. We are 5. We are 6. We all finished from OAU. My parents met in OAU. My brothers, all of us, a family school. So growing up, I already knew that it's OAU or nothing. In fact, I wanted to go to OAU because I used to see the pictures, ask my mom, how did you meet my dad? Where did you meet amphitheater? Kiniko, those kind of stories. So I had already built a dream of going into OAU, but JAM was jamming me. So 160, 170, I just couldn't get to 200. So that was when I was like, okay, instead of just waiting for this thing, let me start something else. And so that was the genesis of, are you sure that you won the prize? I called that before I come as myself. They said, actually, won the prize. And the reason is because throughout my primary and secondary school, I was academically challenged. All right. I was usually a below average student. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this story, my background, so that you don't just see, oh, she's now a director in a global firm. She has CFA. CFA is one of the most difficult exams in the world. Go and check it out. Top 10 most difficult exams in the world. CFA is there. I can't remember the number now, maybe number 6. But I wrote that exam whilst married with 3 young children, okay? So what that tells you is that there's actually nothing that you can't achieve, and there's actually nothing about you that cannot be changed. And that's the reason why I'm sharing the story with you. And today I have over 15 years of experience in finance to the glory of God. And I'm actually living the kind of career that I want. Okay, I'm happy always going to work every day because I believe that I'm living a fulfilling life. And so that's the reason why I'm sharing this background with you. Is our slide ready? Okay, so can we go back to the slide? So what are we going to be talking about today? How do you drive, next slide please, how do you drive relevance in the world today? How do you drive relevance for yourself in the world today? The face of work has changed. Please, I would like to stay on my slide if you can. What to media? Okay, thank you. I hope it's legible for you. Can you see this slide? But even if you can't see, just listen to me. I'm going to explain what I have in the slide. So the face of work is changing, okay? I told you that I started working over 15 years ago. When we started working, you must physically be at work. Latest by 8 o'clock. 8:01, you are late, and they'll mark your face. And what that also meant was everything was physical. Everything was physically driven. You have to be there. There's a rigid time to start. And of course, in my own kind of work, there's no closing time. Sometimes we finish by 3 a.m. And that 3 a.m. is when you are going off. Sometimes it's 10 p.m. It's whenever the spirit leads that you go home. So there was no, for my kind of work then, there was no closing time, but there was opening time of 8 o'clock and you have to be physically there. But being physically at work, what it does is that people can see you, right? Physical, people can see you. And the only thing is that you just spend time commuting. For those that are in Lagos, you know what it means to live on the mainland and work on the island. And things are better now. There's rail now. Then there was no rail. There was nothing. So everybody faces the traffic to go to work. And everybody, has to see you. Everything is just rigid. You have to resume our work. You have to work with other people. Your work style also has to depend on other people's work style. So then in my team, we had different kinds of people. I am a morning person. My most difficult task I do in the morning, I start my day early. I like to start everything I want to do early. Anything difficult I want to do, I do it in the morning. For some people on my team, it's 6 o'clock in the evening that they wake up. I don't know how, you understand? I am morning, some people are night. The world is actually designed for day people, unfortunately. But there are some people is in the night. Then I used to have a boss. You will give him reports as a human being, 10 a.m. This guy will not open it until 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock that me, I've shut down. The guy will say, okay, can we review? And you have to review. It's physical. Everybody has to be there to review. That is 6 p.m. that I say, can we review? And in my mind, you can guess, I'll be praying for him. What kind of person is this? But that's the way work used to be. All right. And I can't even, sometimes when I think about it, I don't know how we used to have the strength to actually appear at work every day, because you have to show up every day. Whether you are sick, in fact, if you are sick, it's better you go and faint in the office so that they will know that you are not lying than not coming and just sending a message. So work, but the face of work has changed. I mean, I'm happy for COVID-19. At least that was one thing that it did for us. Helped us to accelerate into the future of work, which, we may not have had the opportunity of advancing into quickly, even though some firms had been doing the work from home, the hybrid, but it wasn't accepted by everybody. But COVID-19 helped us to accept it, because then I know I had two kinds of bosses. One will say, where are you? He wants to know where, he wants to see you. The other person does not care where you, be like, where is my report? So there were two different personalities, but COVID-19 helped us to appreciate the fact that we can actually achieve work without being together in the same place. Am I correct? So what COVID-19 did was it changed through the use of technology, how work is defined. Work is now less physical. I mean, there are some meetings that we didn't have to do. You didn't have to go to that client's office to talk for 30 minutes. We could have just sorted out everything on the phone, on collaborative tools and all of that. So now the face of work has changed. Now, the only challenge is that now you have to be more intentional as to how you are presenting yourself in a hybrid world, right? Because most times you're not in the same place with the people that you'll be working with. So it means that you have to develop certain skills that maybe would not have been considered important when everybody is physical. So if I'm going to work physically, even if they can't remember that I'm a part of the team, if I'm not adding value, at least because they see me, they will remember that I'm there. Do you know? But if we are working virtually, once they don't see you and you are not adding value, you just be collecting salary and not be improving yourself. Do you know that? So it's important that we understand how we can continue to add value, create value, even though we are not physically, in the same place at work. What else has this done for us? It also means that it is important that you learn how to use these tools. You learn how to be a team worker, all right? And you learn how to communicate. Most times when you're in meetings, most people don't turn on their camera, right? Most people are always on mute. Am I correct? And what that does is, if you are communicating, whether they are listening, you don't know. Whether what you are saying is falling in the right place, you don't know, because you don't get feedback from them. So what that means is that in the new world of work that we have, things have changed, and the skills of before may no longer be relevant today. All right, the skills of before may no longer be relevant today. So what else has COVID-19 done, or what else has the new changing face of work done, is that people are no longer rigid in terms of where they want to work. So for example, when people want to take new appointments now, they ask, is it physical? Even me, I will ask you, is it physical? If you want me to come to work every day, sorry, I will mark you down. But if I can choose when I want to come to work, it gives me more flexibility in how I see work. And also, it has also enabled mostly people that would normally not be able to take on employment, be able to take on employment. For example, some women that are primary caregivers are now able to work when work is defined as flexible. Do we agree? Another thing is that we now see that one of the things that is happening now is that there is more contract type of work, more flexible type of work, rather than just having a single employer and you are just tied to 9 to 5. Mostly, what people do most times is now freelancing and gig work, because it gives them more time to be able to choose. So as work is being defined and as our world continues to be short cycle, what is important is that you learn certain things. You have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible. So you have to change your, mindset as to what work means for you. And you have to be committed to lifelong learning, because this world that we are in now is a world that is subject to disruptions. I'm sure even if you look at Nigeria's macroeconomic environment, you know that is disruptions, because when you wake up each day, you don't know what is going to be disrupted. Am I correct? And it's the same thing with work now. Anything can be disrupted at any time. And for somebody that wants to grow, you have to be keen on how to handle those disruptions. So, but if I compare, because I'm lucky to have had the two worlds of work. And if I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose the work that I do now. All right, which is I want to be able to choose when I go to work. I want to choose where I want to work. All right, where I want to work means even if I'm with a particular employer, I want to choose whether I want to work in my house or I want to choose whether I want to go to the office every day. All right, but of course, that means that it is more difficult. It is more difficult in this world. Why? Because there's practically no distinction between your work and life. And that's what happens to me. So I work from home most times, but it means work can start for me at any time and it can close any time. So there is no, don't you know that I've closed? You can't close now, right? You can't, because then when we're going to work physically, if you start work at 8 o'clock and probably leave the office at 9 p.m., you know that as you are going, if anybody calls you, your mind will be like, I won't pick this call, say. I will not pick this call. But now, anybody can call you at any time, right? Because of, work exigencies, and because now there's a blurry line between work and life. However, this also has its own disadvantages. Number one is sometimes people get pressured. Sometimes it affects people's mental health. You'll be hearing mental health. Because man is not created to be isolated. I hope you agree. Man is created to be a social being, to work with people. And what we find out is that most times the innovations that happen when people are having informal conversations. Innovation, creativity happens when you are doing informal conversations. Maybe you're just having a chat with your colleague, and not necessarily when you're having a meeting. Do you understand? So the new phase of work means that if we are not deliberate with creating those social interactions, we may be missing out on those innovations. Can we have the next slide, please? My own slide, yes, thank you. Now, we want to talk about how do you still create success in that phase of work? How do you still create success, given the fact that the way work is done has changed? Number one thing is that as a person, you have to decide what you want to accomplish. Have you ever seen a football team that is playing around the pitch without a goalpost? Have you seen one before? Have you seen, I don't know, maybe Arsenal and who did they beat the last time? Or who beat them? Okay, Arsenal and playing around and there's no goalpost. Have you seen that before? Okay, I'll answer for you. You've not seen it before. So there is always a goalpost, right? Everybody on the team always knows this is how we win. When we put the ball into this net, then we win. If we put the ball into the net of our opponents, then it means we've helped them to win, correct? In the same vein, as human beings, as a person, you also have to know what you want to achieve. Most times, most of us, we just wake up every day and go to work aimlessly. We have no goals. We don't know what we want to achieve. And the reason why it's important for you to know what you want to achieve is because, number one, it helps you to know when you win and to be able to congratulate yourself. No matter how little the achievement is, to say, wow, I achieved this, I won, even if it's a small little step. It also helps you to know that the kind of people that you need for the journey that you want to take. Why is it important to know where you are going? You know what happens is, anytime you don't know where you are going, any place becomes a destination for you. So if I wake up today, let's say I wake up in Yaba, and I decide I want to go to Ikoyi. If somebody says, let's go to Abule Egba, what will I say? I'll say no, right? Why? Because it's not my destination. But if somebody says, I want to go to Ikoyi, what would I say? Let me join you. Why? Because that's where I woke up to say I want to go. So if you don't have your own goals, you will end up running other people's vision. And most people have been doing that for years, not even defining what they want to achieve for themselves in their career. You see why I told you this, a bit of my story. I mean, it's just a bit that I told you about my life, was because in those times when I was waiting to gain admission into the university, those 3 years, agonizing 3 years, your mates that you left secondary school together, they'll go to university and tell you how, what's his course, economics 101 something, 102, jam bite. You just be hearing stories. They tell you year one, they tell you when they got to 200 level, they got to 300 level, you are still battling with jam. What he helped me to do was to jack me up to say, okay, what do I even really want for my life, right? And I had that opportunity. So I know that if I didn't have that speed break in life, I may not have advanced as much as I advanced, because, maybe I would just have, just gain admission to the university and just take things for granted. But what it helped me to do was, I then decided, okay, this is what I want to become. I want to become, by the time I started writing the ICANN classes, not because I set out to become an accountant, but I just needed something to do. I fell in love with accounting, with finance. And then I had a dream. I didn't say that I slept like Joseph. I conceived a dream to become a chartered accountant. So by the time I got to university, by the time I got to 100 level, guess what? I met my husband when I was in 100 level, first semester actually. It's funny. Yeah. Sorry, met him 100 level, first semester. I was 19 years old. And how did I even meet him was funny. I saw, I had already conceived an idea that I want to become a chartered accountant. So I went to the class one day to read my ICANN, because I was writing ICANN and I was also in 100 level. My schedule was different from somebody just in 100 level. You understand that? So I usually go to class every day to read. And then because I was in 100 level, I was still thinking of how am I going to be able to combine the two. I've not seen anybody do this. Everybody's calling me crazy. Even my parents were like, drop this ICANN. You started this thing because you needed admission. Maybe now you have admission. Why don't you drop it? But a dream had been born. So I even preferred to have the ICANN than have the degree. You understand? So I was in class reading, and then all of a sudden I saw a guy bring out ICANN textbook. I just walked up to him there. Yes, you are the one I'm looking for. That I've been looking for how to combine. Can you just tell me, how you've been able to do this? Incidentally, I realized he's also 100 level like me. But it was in final stage of ICANN. I was in the second stage. So we had an appointment that night. Okay, don't worry, come to my room. We will talk about what we can do. Look at the calendar. Wait. So please, it's OAU. That I said, it's OAU. So I went to the guy's room that night and we discussed about, so room does not mean he's alone in the room, please. It was Fajui all. Okay, I will stop telling you information. So I was in his room and then we discussed, okay, how am I going to do this? We talked. And when I was going, he was just like, meet my roommate. And meet my roommate. That was all, meet my roommate. And then he introduced my husband to me. And the roommate said, oh, the roommate, you better listen to the gist of the matter. So the roommate was like, oh, when can I see you? Give me your room number, I'll check you. Very easily, I gave him room number. Me, I know I don't stay in the room. I'm always in class, but I gave him the room number anyways. He came coming to my room, he didn't see me. Because, of course, I'll be in class. But my point is this. eventually, we got talking, but he knew that, so anytime he wants to see me, he has to come and see me in class. And he knew from that time that this is what this person's dream is. And he said he asked himself that, well, will I be able to cope with this person's ambition? Will I be able to cope with this person's drive? All right. And he answered his yes. So what am I telling you? It is important that you know where you are going. Because if you don't know where you are going, it will be difficult for you to change along the way, especially for those, if you are not yet married. Let me tell you, the most important decision you can make about your career is deciding who you want to marry, because it's very important. So over the course of my career, I've had to write different professional exams, right? But my husband is used to it. Why? Because I've been doing it. He's seen me doing it since I was 19. And now you can guess what my age is. For decades, right? He has seen me do those kind of things. So what I'm saying is, if you don't know where you are going, which is if you don't have a desire, if you don't have a vision, don't even think about, getting married or inviting other people, because this is mostly what causes, conflicts in future. Second thing that I want to talk about is, who do you need to achieve your goals? Who do you need to achieve your goals? Why is this important? So, we've said it. What do you want to achieve? Which is essentially, you have to define your goals. Second point I want to talk about is, who do you need to achieve your goals? Why is this important? It's because when you talk about a career is never a one-man thing. There is nobody that ever succeeded by himself. All right? What I'm trying to tell you is that there is never a self-made success. Everyone that has ever succeeded in life had people supporting them. It is very important you know. And it is important you are able to identify those stakeholders for you. Who are the stakeholders? Are they your friends? Is it your spouse? Is it your boss? Is it even your clients or your customers? They also have an important thing to say about your growth. Let's assume you are serving a client and you are serving them in a manner that is not befitting for the organization. What do you think they will do? They'll report you, right? And when they report you to you, that can have an impact on your growth. So that's why, as someone that is building a career, you have to know who your stakeholders are. Who are those stakeholders, and how do you ensure that you carry them along? You get their buy-in as to what you want to achieve. Some of us, all right, will say things like, I'm smarter than my boss. You should be smarter than your boss. So if you're smarter than your boss, you haven't done anything special, because your boss will not hire a foolish person, right? Anybody that is on my team, I expect you to be smarter than me. That's why you're on my team now. Will I hire somebody that is, when I hired you is because I want you to be a problem solver for me. Is that not correct? So if you are smarter than your boss, you are doing your job. That's your job, to be smarter. However, you have to learn how to manage your boss. Some of us, we don't know how to manage our boss. You hear, my boss is difficult. My boss is toxic. My boss is challenging. Give me those words. My boss is affecting my mental health. What else do we say? What else do we say? My boss is annoying. Thank you, my sister. My boss is annoying. I will resign. The place you are going, are they from another planet? Is it not this earth that they are from? So the thing is, anytime you are working with people, you have to demonstrate emotional intelligence. You have to know them. You have to even know yourself, know what triggers you. Me, as a human being, I know what triggers me. I know what triggers me. So I used to have a colleague that is like, every morning they sent the guide to me. He would just look for things that would, oh my God. He would just look for things that would trigger. You say something that would trigger you, like, oh, why did you do this? Things that would just trigger you. So what I did was, I felt like, this is a pothole. A pothole. This guy is digging something for me. So before I get to work every day, I'll say, beware of the signs. So these are the kind of words that trigger you. So whenever those words come, just take a deep breath and say nothing or walk away. You know, that kind of thing. So anytime you are working in a team, you have to know who your people are. Your boss, who is he? What does he like to do? What's his orientation? You know, what's his hobby? What's his family like? You have to know, because it's important that you are able to demonstrate emotional intelligence. That's one of the things that is very important now. It's that skill of emotional intelligence is very important to know. You and your colleagues, you also have to be able to, your peers and your colleagues, you also have to be able to manage them. It's not that your boss is more important than anybody else, right? Because even the driver of your boss can be the one that will say, boss, don't mind that girl. She's too proud. Don't promote her. Do you know those things happen? So it's important that you treat people well, you know, and if you are a member, pastor is always talking about it. How do you want to achieve your goal? Who do you need to achieve your goals? We've talked about that. Then how do you want to achieve it? For every level, the first thing that gets you in the door is your technical competence. You have to be committed to lifelong learning. It's very important. You see, opportunity always meets with preparation. That's very important. Let me tell you, I didn't set out to end up working in a Big Four accounting firm. I tried when I was in my first year, when I started working in my first year, and it didn't work. I had completely forgotten about it. And 10 years after, this company that I'm currently working on, you know, reached out to me because they saw my profile. So I wasn't doing it because of them. I was just doing it because I wanted to be, you know, one of the top of my profession, and that's how I got the job. So it's important that you keep building your skills. The skills that you build on your job is for you. And it is don't be the kind of, I don't know, certifications that you're supposed to get. Those things you should be committed to it. You know, so many people used to ask me, oh, you were a chartered accountant, you were a chartered stockbroker, so why did you go and write the CFA? Even me, when I started the CFA, I was like, God, who sent me message? Because I did it for 5 years, and I'll tell you the routine if I get a chance, what I was doing. But the truth is, I just wanted to distinguish myself. You cannot be on technical competency. Make sure that in your office, there's something that you can do that nobody else can do. There must be something, at least one that if they say, to do this project, the only person that can do this is Olayinka. That's the only thing, you know, that one of the things that can keep you. And you need to think about it. The best investment that you can ever make is and that's not what I'm trying to say. It is what kind of value, what kind of skills are you building? Second thing you have to know is hard work, hunger, and being teachable. When somebody is hungry, they are not difficult to know, right? They will rush the food. When you are hungry at work, your bosses can see through it. You have to be, see, I know you say, don't work hard, work smart. I don't know what smart working is, but if at all, add that smart working to hard working. You have to be hardworking. And what does that mean? You have to be able to make sacrifices for the things that you want to achieve. And you have to be able to deny yourself of some certain pleasures. For 5 years, when I was writing CFA, I used to wake up at 2 a.m. every day. Why? Because I have kids to attend to. I have kids that will go to school. Me, myself, I have to go to work. So 2 to 5 every morning, I'll wake up to read for 3 hours. Before I get everybody ready for school, before I start my day at work at 8 o'clock. So if you're seeing me at 8 o'clock, I didn't start at 8 o'clock. All right, I started my day earlier. Why? Because I was making a sacrifice. And I knew that anytime you make sacrifices, it's not going to be forever. It's just for a season. All right, the sacrifice is just for a season. Also, anytime you are working, make sure that you are also teachable. Don't ever give an air of, I know it all. Nobody knows it all. Oh, even with all my certificates, I don't know it all. In fact, I don't know anything. I wake up every day saying, what is there to learn today? Last thing I'm going to talk about in how can you achieve your goals is networking and relationship building. Everything you would achieve in life is through relationships. So the job I'm doing now, it was a friend that dropped my CV 2 years before. Do you understand? A friend dropped my CV with that. I don't even know who he gave the CV to. He didn't even tell me drop the CV there. But I got the job because a friend dropped my CV. And so relationships are very important. Don't leave. If you are leaving a place of employment, you don't need to lock the door when you are going. Most people, they'll say, I'm resigning, and then you turn everybody there into your enemies. You know, this world is a dot. It's not even small. This world is a dot. It's either you meet them again or you meet somebody that knows them again. And you know what that means? In fact, the world is as small as a former boss. My former boss has given me an opportunity to work somewhere else before. And that's because I didn't close the door. I didn't burn the bridge. Don't be somebody that burns the bridge. And one last thing I would also say about how do you achieve is to ensure that, make sure that what is paramount for you, especially at this stage, you know, in different stages of our career, we have the time when we are sowing, and then there's a time when you are reaping. If you still know that you are sowing, if you are in a sowing stage, don't think you should be reaping. Now, what do I mean? When you're in the sowing stage, you should be looking for experience, not money. If you misplace your priority and look for money when you should be looking for experience, you'll pay for it later. And I have an example. I started my career in banking. I knew I shouldn't be in banking because it's not what I wanted to do. But why did I stay there? Because of money. All right, until God in his infinite mercies yanked me off from there. So what I'm saying is always place experience over money, because that is what would help you. And as I round off, last question I want to ask you is, how can you develop your staying power? Number one thing I will tell you is that building a successful career is not an easy ride. There will be bumps along the way. All right. One thing that you should learn to do is to embrace failure. Failure is your friend. Failure is your friend. Failure is what helps you to grow. Failure is something that helps you to develop grit and resilience. You know, I don't have time. I would have shared a story with you about how failure has helped me, because, you know, I've been failing. Primary school fail, secondary school fail. So when I failed CFA, it wasn't easy. It wasn't difficult to pick it up now. Shebi, you are used to it. But if you are somebody that has not been failing, when you have that fail, you will give up on it. They are telling me time is up, but the last thing I want to say is, don't confuse a bend for an end. In life, there are times when you have to bend. So in my career, as beautiful as it looks, I've lost a job before. I was sacked. If I lost a job does not make sense to you. I was sacked from my first employment, all right, 4 years into it, and in the midst of a recession. But if I did not lose that job, I wouldn't be here speaking to you today, because I wouldn't have had the opportunity of having a career switch. So whatever happens to you in life, just know that it's always for your good. Can we have the next slide, please? The last slide. And I close with this scripture from Genesis 13:14-15. And it says, after Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abram, look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And you will see that I lighted as far as you can see. And I'm telling you that in your career as well, you can build anything you want as far as you can see. Your career is in your hands, and you can make it into something you could be proud of. Thank you for listening.
Amen. That was explosive. Very, very explosive. At some point, I felt I was being attacked, because I'm one of those people that studied accounting with that icon. Don't ask me why or how, right? And say, destination, where are you going? Well, I was telling myself, my own destination is I want to make money. The question is how, right? But those were a lot of quotable quotes, nuggets, gems, all those grammar. People that study English, it, right? People like us, we did not study English. At least I've told you I studied accounting. I'm trying to, by association, claim people that study accounting are smart. That is even why I went to study. My teacher studied accounting in primary 4. He was very smart. So me too. I wanted to show I was smart. But let's give our speaker, Olayinka, a hand. I know we have questions. Note them down. You would have an opportunity to, ask. We're going to have a breakout where you'd have more time to ask your questions. And for those that came early in reverse, we have hashtag for everything that you're hearing, MWTC, or you can write it in full, Moving with the Cheese 2.0. And when you are posting on social media, you know that place, right? Obasanjo's internet. You know it. You don't know Instagram. If you are putting it there, tag TCN Yaba. If you are putting it on Facebook, TCN Yaba. On Twitter, is now called X. Don't know what we are Xing. TCN Yaba, so that we can, engage with your posts, and it would also amplify what we are doing. Have you gotten value so far? Okay, so straight we'll be bringing up our next speaker, who is an Egbon as well, somebody I know. I know the speakers. So, but I'm doing by affiliation. Our next speaker is Kehinde Olateru. Let's clap for him. I'll quickly share his brief profile. He's the co-founder and CEO of Zero Complex AI, a company focused on simplifying AI integration for businesses with a background in technology and a passion for adding value and improving human lives through technology. Kehinde also co-founded Cranet, a B2B technology consulting and implementation company, before starting Zero Complex AI. Proud to his role at Zero Complex AI, Kehinde served as the head of Flutterwave Labs. He holds a BSc from the University of Lagos and has worked on and implemented notable technology projects with organizations such as GT Bank, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Airtel, and the Office of the Vice President. So with a resounding applause, let's welcome Kehinde Olateru.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
I'm happy we're able to get that moment. So today is our speaker's birthday. So we have a few minutes together, and it's going to be very interactive. This is like a very short fireside chat, and I know you'd have questions, right, to ask, get better clarity, write them down. You'd get an opportunity to, ask the questions. And so just to kick us off, right, and, when we're putting together this program, and we're just talking about moving with the cheese. Some people were asking, what is moving with the cheese? And what does it mean, right? And I, as an entrepreneur and someone in the tech space, we just want you to share what you say are present-day realities, trend. What is this cheese that we are talking about? So we want you to talk about the trends in the tech space, the present realities that entrepreneurs are facing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. I used to attend Yaba Church a long time ago, before I moved to VI Center. I think one of the realities is, I don't know what I should say this right. People that leverage AI and people that don't. Right. So there'll be two types of organizations. Organizations that leverage AI, whatever they're doing, and organizations that don't. So that's one. So as an entrepreneur, you have to start thinking about that. Number two is also there's need to digitize whatever you're doing. Right. It's going to give you the edge. It's going to put you at a better position to service your customers. Right. Also, reality also is there's been a democratization of technology tools, right? So think about maybe like 20, 15 years ago, if you wanted to run a digital marketing campaign, for example, you have to go and work with brands, big organizations. But now, anybody that has a smartphone, has a social media or TikTok, can go viral with anything, literally. Sorry, I was just thinking about this popular and from the corner of your room, you don't know where you might get to, right? So, so those are some of the trends, right? And also, you're no longer, your service to a local audience anymore, right? Anyone from any part of the world can reach out to you because of technology tools. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, very interesting response. And something that caught my attention is when you mentioned the world is now divided into two, those that leverage AI. And I think you were very specific, those that leverage AI and those that are not. And I'm just thinking, should we be scared? Because how do I even know where I fall in? Because for me, I'm still, it's like you are struggling to understand the popular one we all know, Chat GPT, like some people call it. And there are others. So how do I even know when I'm in one category, I'm leveraging AI and not just that I know Chat GPT?
I think everybody here has how many of us use WhatsApp? So you've probably seen the new Meta AI that's been launched. Yeah, so that's it. Like, I think it's over like 2 billion users already that are actively using Meta AI, right? So think about that. And it doesn't have to be complex. Like, there's the fact that it's even on WhatsApp now means that you can chat with an AI, and the truth is the features or things are going to that are going to be released down the road, a lot of exciting just to help us become just more productive. So things that we do every day that are monotonous, that are routine, AI is going to replace that to create like white space for us to now become more creative. So before AI, for example, people were using typewriters, right? So imagine just now you work in an office where somebody's using typewriter and you're using a laptop, who will be more productive, right? So the laptop did not replace the human being. It just created more space for us to focus on things that the laptop cannot do, right? So that's what AI is going to basically do. It's going to take care of, like, is now accelerated. So think about everything that is routine is going to be replaced with AI. So that's the heads up I like to tell people, right? Anything that you think that it's every day and your level of accuracy is not going to be at par with computer, definitely a computer is going to replace that. But AI cannot replace emotions, for example. AI cannot replace convincing a client to go with you, right? AI cannot replace a lot of things. So we are going to be forced to focus on those things, and also we'll now discover new things that we can do. right? So just like the way the typewriter was placed with the laptop, and I started realizing, oh, laptop, I can not just type, I can do design, I can do bits, sort of things, right? It opened up a new industry that never existed before the era of the PC, right? So that's what AI is going to basically do. It's going to open up a lot of things that we don't even, for example, now, as at 12 months ago, there was something like prompt engineering, but you have people going into that as a career, right? So I think the next phase is going to see somebody like my leadership that spoke before me, my boss, mixing that with a knowledge of AI. She's going to be much more productive than somebody that doesn't know about AI, right? But we still need that finance knowledge, that accounting knowledge for us to be able to apply AI in that particular field, right? So it's not like AI is going to replace everybody. It's just going to put pressure on you to be more productive, right?
Awesome. Thank you very much. I think something, again, just sharing that it doesn't have to be complex, right? And AI will not replace our emotions. And because I remember a couple of times when I'm using the popular one, and I would say, thank you, or how do you feel? And it answer me, I'm not a human. I don't know how to feel. And I'm like, so at least that gives people like us hope until they interpret what emotions are, would keep our advantage. So just moving forward quickly, taking you to the other aspect of you, which is the fact that you're an entrepreneur. And, most times we just see entrepreneurs, they're always coming up with businesses. There are some serial entrepreneurs, they can develop, there are 10 founders at the same time. And I think for you, you're a multiple founder. So just to know, how did you know when it was time to start up a venture or a business that you are into? The right time to say, okay, I need to move this from just being an idea in my head to something like a full-fledged business. And also something we want you to address when you are talking is, I have my 9 to 5, do I need to quit to go and focus on my venture? Would that make me more successful?
Okay, so let me answer. Can everybody hear me now? Okay, so you couldn't hear me before, but why did you say something? All right, so let me answer from the last question. I don't recommend you quit, I don't at all. So what I suggest is until the business that you're working on is successful to the point where it's conflicting with your 9 to 5, right? It means that, for example, if I start a business today and there are different metrics you can use. So number one, if it's taking your time, it means that it's generating returns for you. It's as simple as that. If it's taking your time and you're not getting returns, then you need to look at whether you should go into it or not. So that's one. Number two, if it's generating returns, is it in commercial quantity? That's one. Number two, is it sustainable? Right. It means that if I leave this 9 to 5 now, can this thing sustain me? Maybe not. Can it sustain me to the point there's no sharp drop in my lifestyle? Right. Of course, there's some inconveniences you have to make. Then what's the outlook like? Is it a business that you see growth down the road? And be realistic to yourself. Don't hope or don't wish. Like, you need to have enough data to say, okay, I'll still be in business in the next 12 months or 1 year or 3 years or things like that. Right. So at that point, as I think you should stretch it as much as possible, right? Don't just out of excitement quit and just start focus. Like, don't do that, right? Because there's so many, and I usually advise people as an entrepreneur, if you think this thing will be successful in 6 months, just add another 6 months to it, right? Because there's so many unforeseen curves down the road that you never ever know existed, right? And I've done I'm in my second startup now, so I can tell you for a fact that if you think, speaking to my sector tech, oh, go live, we'll acquire this customer by Q2. My brother, just add Q3 to it or add Q4, right? Because there's so many things that, the customer might not be in the mood, something might happen. So imagine if you now sort of like have left your 9 to 5. You just be cranky, you'll be resentful, you'll be, that's minus. You have to focus on the business. So you have to keep track of your emotions, and it's the people closest to you that will suffer that outburst because you just be cranked up, So um, brings stability. I'm just can be an intro, right? Don't that connected. Everybody can be paying me that every month. Yeah, so that's one. Then also, why are you in business, right? So there are different types of business. Is this business just to sustain my lifestyle, right? Is this business just to maybe pay for my children's education or just making me have a soft life, right? Is this business like a Dangote business where I want to conquer the world, right? Or conquer Africa, right? So you need to there's nothing wrong in choosing any type of this strategy, right? So I know people that are in business, like, look, this business is just to fund my lifestyle, fund my children's education. That's it. You're the one with the dream to take over the world. I'm not interested, right? Or maybe that season of their life, they don't want to. Or this business is going to stay in my family, right? Or, this business is going to be venture backed, like most tech companies are. It means that exit is in sight. It means that maybe 5, 6, 7 years down the road, I'm going to exit. So you cannot be emotional to the business, right? Because you know that if you've gotten investors, they're investing in you because they want to exit. So you cannot be emotional about making your business decision in the interest of everybody, right? So that's that. First question that you now asked, how do you know when to pivot? I will be lying to you if I say I know like of a certainty, but you just observe seasons, right? So some businesses have seasons, right? Some businesses, okay, we're in church, so I can say it, right? So you just observe seasons, right? When God was taking care of Elijah, right? There was a time the raven was bringing food to Elijah, right? And that season just ended. God just said, okay, you need to pivot to another business. I've provided food for you with the widow of Zarephath, right? So you also need to just know, okay, this season is over, I need to pivot. And there will be lots of things that the business will be telling you, right? So observe your customers, what are your customers saying? I knew that because of what we've done in Creanet and the kind of customers we had in Creanet, when ChatGPT came out, like my co-founders and I, we knew that it was going to be a game changer, right? So we like, look, this is the time to go into this, right? And we didn't go into it figuring everything out. We just knew that so there are trends, right? Just businesses will need AI integration, right? Because we've done some of these things at infrastructure level for some of our customers, right? So observe seasons. Then also customers, talk to your customers more, get feedback. Then also observe your environment, right? Look at what is obtainable globally, right? So then also look at similar markets, right? So Nigeria, when it comes to tech, is similar to maybe India, Indonesia, some other markets. Look at what is obtainable in all those places, right? So that's it. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Because of time, I'm quite curious. Have you ever had setback?
Oh, yes.
And how did you manage it? Because there are people here who are like, for those that are registered, there's somebody that sent in a very interesting question. I wish we have time to unpack it. Like, financial challenges, the business is not growing. Person clearly put, I'm tired, right? So have you had setback as an entrepreneur? How did you approach it? What were some of the things that worked for you?
Okay. I mean, I have, to be honest, I've had lots of setback. So I'm not going to try and be giving you aspire to perspire. I mean, so give yourself time to grieve over that. So that's the first thing, right? So if, for example, my own style, for example, is I take myself to eat, right? So if something, maybe there's a challenge, I just shut it down. I go to maybe one fancy restaurant and just eat. You know, when you're eating to the point where you go home and you just sleep, and sleep cures a lot of things for me. Once I sleep, I wake up and realize, it's not that bad. These things are right. So that's that. But sometimes also I mean, as a Christian, I spend a lot of time praying about it. And I thank God for everything that went wrong, right? So I specifically write down, and I'm just thinking back now, like how there's a time we lost one of our biggest clients, right? And it was a really, really bad time for us in Cranet, right? And, I just accepted and moved on with life. But I think for like a week, I will wake up around 1 a.m. and thank God that this client walked away. Right. Like, thank God that I said this that made the client walk away. Thank God that my staff did this that made, like, first of all, I absorbed everybody of the responsibility and I just accepted responsibility. But I also had an Oga, that's God, right? So I thank God that, so the first day is hard, right? I cried a bit. Second day, it gets a bit easier. Third day, it gets, and one way or the other, maybe I think the fifth or sixth day, something will just switch. And that pain is no longer as heavy as it is, right? Because if you don't manage that thing, you might not be able to see clearly the next step to take, right? So, so acceptance, process the grief. If it's cry, you can cry. I have plenty of people I talk to, right? Colleagues, people older. Then I talk to people that there's a business that did not work out. I went to meet somebody, my mentor, and he just sat me down and said, I just lost $1 million. And he was sitting sane, he was composed. I was like, I lose $1 million. I was just, also gives you a perspective that he just taps him like, look, it's part of this thing. Just move on from it, right? I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you did. We're out of time. My gas would soon come for me. But thank you very much for the responses you gave and the insights you've shared. I think like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a breakout where we... Okay. So instead of having a Q&A here, we're having a breakout where we'd get to interact in depth. And I know you have burning questions, right, you want to ask. So for those who share, like you are in the tech space or you're an entrepreneur, just remain here. For others that are just like me, others like me, you are not tech, you are not entrepreneur. We are going to the overflow upstairs, upper room, where the apostles were on the days of Pentecost, so that I would collect impartation to come and meet our entrepreneurs to collect money from them. So, but let's appreciate our speaker. Yeah, so for those like me, let's just move upstairs. You don't know those like me. If you are not in the tech space or you are not an entrepreneur, let's just move upstairs. Your work does not concern tech. You HR, finance, tax, what again? Sales, customer service. You work in an NGO, you work in government, you are a politician. Let's just go upstairs. If you are not going upstairs, you can move forward. If you are not upstairs, move forward, move forward. God bless you. There's space here in front. All of you, take, I'll mark your face. Okay, I know you've been here. Let's move closer, please. You've been hearing me talk since, so I'm going to hand over to the moderator of this session. Remember, if you have any question, it's about you. Now, anything you want to know, anything as they pinch you, right? So I'm going to invite our moderator, who is known as Wilma. Dufa. Wilma, am I right? Wilfanta. That is tar, right? Yeah, I know the tar. I said the Wilma tar. Let's clap for her. Clap now.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm just going to be introducing the second facilitator to join us, Mr. Oyofe. Hi, everyone. I hope we've been enjoying ourselves. So this session is just basically your questions and answers, and I'm sure everybody enjoyed the session that just ended with Mr. Kenny. So briefly, I'm just going to let them introduce themselves again for those that are just joining us. And in their introduction, it's just going to come with a little twist. They're just going to tell us if what they're doing now was something they always wanted to do as children. Is that good? So just a little introduction. Yes, we go first.
Okay, my name is Kainde Olateru. Presently, I'm the co-founder of Zero Complex AI. Zero Complex AI basically is an AI startup. Can everybody hear me now? Okay. Zero Complex AI is an AI startup that simplifies businesses, that simplifies AI integrations for businesses. I think I just wanted to make money when I was growing up, right? So I've always known that I was going to be someone that enjoyed making money, right? So I think that tech was like the fastest route to get there, in quotes, right? So, and I had 3 career options: either to be a neurosurgeon, and it doesn't correlate, but nobody should ask me how. To be a neurosurgeon, to be a professor of chemistry, or to be like someone that had a tech startup. So, and I just knew that I was either going to do any of those 3 or all of them, So that's it.
Well, thank you. Oyofe?
My name is Olutola Oriofe. I'm a software engineer. I've been doing this for about 8 years. Did I always want to do this when I was younger? I wanted to be an electrical engineer because I was curious as to how things worked. And then my father he's an electrical engineer, and he used to, fix things around the house, make changes, and I was always curious, trying to do the same thing that he used to do until one day I touched Livewire. And, I learned my first lesson. But I got into secondary school, I found out about computers, and it just felt like this is what I wanted to do, right? I was curious as to how the computer worked, how people did what they did. So that's how I ended up being a software engineer.
Thank you so much. So the audience, you guys can, get your questions ready. You guys can get your questions ready if you're bold enough. Somebody will attend to you, or you could write it on a paper and then I'll read it out. So while you are sorting that out, I just have like a little game for Oriofe and Kenny to play. We're going to start with Kenny. So it's just word associations. I'm going to call out words and then you just tell me the next word that comes to your mind. Okay, so the first word, founder.
Tech.
Okay, the next one, Silicon Valley.
It's still tech now, Abby.
No, you have to give us another word.
I have to give you another word.
Yes.
Silicon Valley innovation.
Okay. Machine learning.
AI, definitely.
Ecosystem.
Yaba.
Nice. Bootstrap.
Hustle, man.
Okay, thank you so much. So for Oriofe, we're going to play 2 truths and a lie. So you have to tell the audience 2 truths and a lie, and then they'll guess which one is the lie.
Okay. I nearly drowned as a child. I thought I could swim, and then let's see. I think most people here are in TCN, right? Okay.
Not really. Let's not assume.
I grew up in Lagos, and
Last
thing. I'm a shy person.
So who can guess the lie? Which I'm hearing he's a shy person. Okay. Okay, thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. So do we have anybody whose question is ready? Anybody who is ready to ask a question? Or while we wait for them, let me just ask this question to both of them. Is it possible to learn a skill and make your first million in the same year?
Oh, yes, very possible. Very, very possible. Very, very. There's so many skills that you can learn.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it depends on the skill that you're learning. Yes, so it's very dependent on the skill and your consistency in learning and applying that skill.
Okay, thank you. So it's very possible to learn a skill and make a million in that same year. Do we have anybody who has any other questions? Please go ahead.
John, we can hear you. Just speak.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please introduce yourself. Tell us your name and what you do, and then the question.
Okay. My name is Kenneth. I'm a photographer. Now, what has made me come is the theme, relevance in the global economy. And the question I have is, like, as a photographer, I was not having in mind tech. But just like you said, you were looking out for options of making money. So now, is tech, or how does tech make me relevant in the global economy? Is it a wrong step? Like someone like me who is a photographer. So I just want you to bring out those ace or key things about what tech really is all about that can make anybody maybe who is not interested or who didn't have a dream for tech say, oh, because of what this thing carries, I want to actually go for it.
So I don't like, what's the question exactly?
The question is, how does tech make me relevant in the global economy?
As a photographer or?
Yeah, that's like in relation to your photography.
As one who wants to have a kind of pivot.
Okay, from photography.
Yes.
Okay. So how does tech make you what?
Be relevant economically or globally?
As a photographer, or you're just trying to move into the tech space?
I'm trying to move into the tech space.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because the way you started the photography conversation, we didn't know that it wasn't connected.
Yeah, because photography can be.
There are so many tech skill sets that you can pick up, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be coding, right? So, in fact, we need more non-code tech skills. Think about it. Everybody's building a tech product. People need to sell. People need to market. People need to think, for the users. And you don't necessarily have to code to be able to do that, right? So these are like off the top of my head, like different roles, operations, sales, development. Then if you want to now delve into the coding part, I'll allow my chairman here give you more areas into that, right? So, business development, marketing, operations, sales, legal, compliance. Even this photography you're doing, you can combine it. You can help people. I know when I was in Florida there was a whole department that was responsible for the media team, and it was massive. They had gadgets, they had cameras, and they were very intelligent people, because whatever we were building, we needed to sell it, and we need to convince people that this is so they were responsible for taking whatever we had built, and push it out there to everyone. Of course, you can't say, this is our Apple, download it tomorrow. This is our Apple, download it next tomorrow. This is our Apple, right? So they had to come up with creative ways to communicate that. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered the question. All right, then. Yeah, please. You should add those, so that's...
Yes. So as he said, there are non-technical skills and there are technical skills, right? So you cannot build a tech solution without having to market it or to sell it to people. I think one of the challenges that we tech coding people have is that somebody is like, we need to build something. And then they don't think about what happens after. They don't think about the structure for the company. They don't think about how do we make money. They're just like, I want to build Facebook, an app that has Facebook, Google, Twitter together. So in being relevant, in tech being relevant, making you relevant, as a technical person, there are skills that you have to learn, right? What value are you giving? So you cannot be relevant if you don't have anything to give. What are you giving? What are the skills that you have? What can you learn? That's what I think.
Back. Some person at back.
I think there's someone here too.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ukeme. I'm a DevOps engineer in the blockchain industry. My question is centered around the philosophy of AI. So I would like to know what Kende thinks about the implications of AGI in the hands of big tech, keeping in mind that other big tech companies will also have AGI. So what do you think
the implication of AGI? God, I've entered this.
In the hands of big tech.
In the hands of big tech.
Yeah, like Apple has its own AGI.
Yeah.
Facebook, Meta has.
So first of all, what's AGI for people that are not as?
Artificial general intelligence.
Okay, so for the purpose of everybody, let's try and break it down into simple terms. Okay, so what's the question now?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Are the implications of AGI? So this is a philosophical question. So I think you.
I think that it's definitely going to happen, right? But we really cannot, to some extent, we really cannot say this is how it would affect things, right? Because we don't know how people will react to it, or we don't know the level of acceptance. Do you get? And it's standard with any new technology. We will predict that, oh, this thing will be a success. For example, when Apple launched their the Vision Pro, people thought, oh, it's going to be game changing. All of us are going to be wearing this and be walking up and down. But me, I'm like, I don't think it will happen in Lagos. Imagine wearing that kind of thing in Egbeda or Yaba or Shodi. My friends there will just slap you and collect it, right? So I think it's too early, right? But I think everybody would, at some point, we're going to converge, right? Just like with AI, there's going to be like a look. Let us define the standard. But right now, innovation is being encouraged, so it's like a race, right? But at some point, there's going to be standardization because, at the end of the day, they are also custodians of how these things are being used, even though they are all competitors, right? So think about we're gradually getting to the point where there's going to be like a regulation when it comes to using social media platforms, right? Because they've seen that, look, this thing can cause a lot of harm. It can disrupt things. It can influence elections, right? So there's going to be room for everybody to innovate. Let's see who is the fastest to get to that point of dominance, right? Then after that point, the big boys will now come and sit down and say, okay, now that we're here, everybody's an ogre. This is how we want these things to play out for the good of humanity, right? I don't know if I answered your question. All right, thank you. You should clap for me now. I think it's easy to answer deep question.
Okay, good morning.
Morning, sir.
My name is Samuel. I work as a front-end engineering lead, and I use ChatGPT from time to time and all of that. My question is, how do I maximize the use of AI, right? Other than, okay, yes, use ChatGPT, and all of that. Do I maximize AI by, sort of delving into the field? Or is it just, okay, use AI to do those tasks that, the repetitive tasks, stuff you can offload to AI and stuff like that?
I think it depends on you, like what is your objective, right? So off of the top of my head, I would say, since you're a front-end engineer, you should maybe take a basic course in AI from maybe Udacity University or a nano degree in AI. So it gives you a basic understanding of, AI and things like that, right? And this is going to probably help you in now knowing if you want to specialize in that field, right? So then you can also pick up a data science course, analysis, or all these things to understand, because data is a fuel. Data is a fuel that AI needs, right, for it to work. So I would say you should delve into that space too. And adding your front-end skill sets to it, you're definitely building beautiful interfaces. So understanding how people will consume this information or how they will request for these things would help you in building better products, right? So if I want to go a bit more technical now, I'm sure you use GitHub. I think GitHub has AI copilots, right? So you're already doing that already. So yeah, you're there already now. So you should come and teach myself. All right then. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes.
All right then. Thank you. Be clapping for me, please. I need the encouragement. Thank you. And today's my birthday too, so.
Okay. Good morning. I have two questions. My name is Sarah Kasim. My first question is, from your experience, Kende, what initial cues or indicators have you seen in the past that suggest it's time to adapt and move with the cheese in your own professional and also personal space? I'm asking for the context, your company, the new company that you founded, what did you see I know that you'll say, oh, I saw that AI was the future. But I also want to believe that there must have been something that you'd have seen and you were ready to, I'm not necessarily saying leave the other companies that you started, but knowing that this is the new direction to go and I'm going to be building a new company around that. Should I ask the second question at once too?
Is the second question for me?
Yes, it is for you.
Jesus. Okay, let me answer this one first.
Okay.
Then I would. So I think for me was, so if you follow the trends, right, before Google, think about how people used to go and look for information. So you either go to the library or you call your friends, you get books, right? Then Google came in to place. Now you can search. Now, what ChatGPT did was, rather than you just sending information and you giving me, right? If I'm not satisfied with that information, I will ask more questions. ChatGPT now made it a conversational, right? So it was at that point when I first downloaded it, I said, finally, this is something that can take a lot of market share from Google. And the truth is, it is not in our generation that you see this happen. You might say it happen a bit in our time, but imagine our children. They will be looking at us like, how are you surviving without ChatGPT? Just like the way we look at our parents, like, how did you survive without Google? Right? So that's what's going to happen. So it was at that point I knew that this has now, so AI has always been an academic thing, right? So if you have background in computer science or you're in STEM, you definitely, AI has always been like in the academics. In fact, one of the most valuable company now, NVIDIA, they stumbled into seeing that their GPUs can be used for building LLMs. It was actually designed for games, right? So it was just like a researchers, chemistry or biology researchers that realized that, look, these chips that is in these computers for these games, we can use it for things like this, right? So it's almost like people stumbled on it, right? So AI has always been there. DeepMind, Google DeepMind, they've been actually like, experimenting. At the point, people were even saying it doesn't make sense. You know, people were like, what you're doing doesn't make sense and things like that. But immediately I downloaded ChatGPT and I realized that people can chat with something and the thing can have a mind of its own and reply, like as if you're covered. I already knew that this is definitely going to be a game changing, right? And I was, first of all, I was humbled to be in an era where this is happening. Of course, when Facebook came out, right, I was way younger. I didn't really take cognizance of what was going on in the environment. But this one was like, this one is not going to let me, I won't let, this. There's something that I read in Ayaki Mokede's book, Leaving the Tarmac. He said by the early 2000s, there was, I think it was banking recapitalization. And I realized that if I did not do anything, I might never have that opportunity again. So it was just like, look, the waters are stirring. Let me just jump into it. I'll figure it out. So that was my first instinct. Then I started having conversations with my co-founder. We now stumbled into what is now known as zero complex AI. I don't know if I answered your question, Sarah.
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
so what's the second one?
So the second question, and thank you also for the simplicity of the answers. What are some of the lessons that you've learned from past experiences that have helped you navigate uncertainty more effectively? So to put more context,
thank you for the context.
So to put more context, it's easy for people to see you now and see that you just moved into this new space. And I know that you definitely dealt at some point in time with uncertainties, even with your co-founder, speaking to them, I'm moving into this new space, and you have a wealth of experience in different industry. What are some of the ways that's helped you really navigate those uncertainties? And it will be helpful if you can put them into practical, make them practical so that we can also learn from them.
Hey, good. Okay, so uncertainty is, so first of all, my co-founder, the same co-founders that built Cranet were the same guys that are doing Zero Complex. Yeah. And we're like a mix. So we have the incurable optimists, right? I won't tell you who is the incurable optimist. Then we have the what if it's not the right thing we're doing. Then you have the person that balances us out, right? So he has both sides, right? So because of our dynamics, we can. So one person is always at every point in time, guys, have you thought that this thing well? Of course, there's always the excited one, and it's me, like, this is the new, like, we're going in, right? But there's always like, calm down, guy, relax. It's not, and that beautiful mix sometimes helps, right? That's one. Another authenticity that will manage is we don't get emotional. If it's not working, we shut it down quickly. I've learned that over the years. If it's not working, shut it down, move on to the next, right? The fact that it did not work does not mean that you're a failure. It just means that maybe it's not the right time, it's not the right approach. But you will learn in the next phase, things that you have learned from that last phase. But the main thing is just you have to be bold. I usually tell people that, and I read a lot. I read a lot of biographies, right? Most of the people that you think that are doing massive things, they're just bold. They're just bold people, right? So I read about Jimovia's story, right? He just got up one day, just said, "Look, CBN has brought out a rule that they are issuing banking license, and you have to have 10 years." But I think he works in Chicago, something American bank then. And he just said, I don't have up to 10 years, but the number of years I have is almost equal to working in 10 years in a Nigerian bank. And that morning, they just went to CBN and said, I want to apply for a banking license. Do you get? Like, the major thing that you need is just boldness. You'll be shocked at how being bold is a major factor, because you are scared, you are afraid, but the fact that you just show up, this is what we're going to do, or you walk up, or you do that, you face that thing. And I'm not trying to give you aspire to perspire, right? But sometimes just being bold to say, we're entering this thing and we'll learn. Zero Complex AI has stretched me, because if I tell you the original idea of Zero Complex when we started and what it is now, is way off tangent. And what it will be in the next 6 months, I don't even know. But that boldness is just there, like, okay, I would start making, and I'm flexible enough to start making the adjustments as we're going. Right. So that's it. I don't know if I answered your question. Please, we should ask him questions too, please.
So before we get to that person, I have a question here. So this person is a DevOps engineer, and they would like to know how they could be a top performer in their field.
So I don't have any DevOps specific knowledge, but I think the thing that has worked for me and is working for me and works for everybody is learning. So I would say like 3 things: learning, or having, like, being open-minded, consistency, and the right people, right? Knowing the right people. You have to be open to learning, keep reading, keep in touch with what's happening at the moment. The landscape is always changing continuously, right? So there are new things that come out. Are they relevant to your job at that point? If they're relevant to your job, find out how you can learn it. Find out anybody that has the relevant knowledge for you at that point. And then networking, I think that's very, 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 very important, because if you've learned something over time, you know the things you're supposed to know, but you don't know anybody that can help put you in the place that you need to be, then it's wasted, right? Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you, Efe. Next question.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is David Babame Back End, and I actually have two questions.
For him, Abi?
It's general.
Both of them.
Yes,
Okay.
anybody can answer it. The first speaker talked about something that actually went deep into my mind. She made mention that there's the time for sowing, and when you are reaping, when you ought to be, you pay for it. And you discover that in the software world today, you start up as a junior engineer, and you now see an advert about a senior engineer. You went through most of the skills there. You have it, you can deliver. You now went for the interview. You perform well, and you were now hired. In such cases, now looking at this aspect of time of, let me say, sowing, how do you handle it? Should you just, some say keep, is it faking until you become it? Should you go ahead? I know that there are some people that can cope and stick to it and go ahead. And if you check our Nigerian industries today, when they're advertising for a position, 9 years experience, 10 years experience, you have 1 year, you have 2 years, and you have checked all that it entails. You have even practically worked on projects that demand that skill. So how do you now, handle it? So I think those is two questions in one now. First is that should you now start, let me say, reaping as a senior engineer when, to some extent, based on probably requirements, you have a junior engineer role? Then the next is the aspect of looking at this qualification. Should you step senior roles? Because you've looked at, from the last example you just gave, you mentioned that boldness sometimes is one of the most important things. And I think the first question that was also asked, can you make your first million within a year? So if you put it into this now, it's possible for me, the way I see it. You just have few years experience, but you can fit in. So these are my two questions. Thank you.
So something I want to ask is, you said you have the relevant skills, or you think you have the relevant skills.
Yes. They mentioned the qualification and experiences, but when you look at the years, you don't meet up to the years. But once it comes to the skills, you can even do beyond what they are required.
So go for it. Why not? So the point I know you said you go through the skills, you have the skills, you go for the interview, you ace the interview. What's next?
Yeah, I agree with him. And most times people that draft this JDs, they're HR people, no offense to HR. So for example, you can major enterprise projects, for example, and somebody can be in another company where they were just more of maintaining status quo. You can't compare it, no matter the number of years, right? So it's not really in the years, it's the quality of the project, right? So, I mean, yeah, we had people then in Cranet that they were with us for like a year or two, but then the words then in Cranet then was, if you stay here for 1 year, okay, any startup you go to, they will almost want to worship the ground you work on, because we're more of a technology implementation company. So we are working on big enterprise projects, right? And you were thrown into the deep end to figure out your way to swim back. So by the time you join a startup that just started, that probably has few users, you'll be acing it out right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
You have another question?
Okay.
So he has answered you now. Like, you sold so much. So
exactly, you sowed when you were getting the skills that you needed. Now you're reaping the benefits. Do you understand?
Next question.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So I have a question.
Your name?
I have a business that I want to
Your
start.
name?
Okay, sorry. My name is Bimbo Adebibe, product management. So Pastor has mentioned that when you have a business idea, you start to make confessions, declarations regarding it. So I want to ask you, Kendi, was that what you did before you launched your new business? And then also, At what point did you know that it's time to begin to take action or begin to do something physically aside from making declarations and confessions regarding the business that you want to start?
Okay, so I'm just going to be very practical. So there's general confession that I make concerning the work of my hands, right? That's one. Then also, so let me tell you, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not very, I don't know how to say this. There are people more deeper spiritual than me in these things. So for example, now, as we're interacting today now, right? By the time I wake up to pray, I run through my day praying in tongues, for example. So if I wake up tomorrow, very early tomorrow morning now, I run through how today went. Do you get how I sat down here, how I met him, how everybody asked me questions like that? And in my own life, I now realize that maybe something just popped up back into my consciousness. Maybe a week after, I just remember something. So then I take it like maybe God is trying to pull me towards that to think more about it. And it can be anything. It can be random. I mean, this conversation we have now, when I'm praying, something will come up. It can be anything, right? So when I first were discussing zero complex AI, before that time, I had been praying to God as per, I think there's something Pastor said about, he was mentioning that God will not just only give you ideas, something about God will give you ideas that answers questions to this in the subconscious of people. I don't know if you remember that they said it one day. So that thing just struck me like, because what Daniel did was answer the king's dream that he couldn't even remember. But when you tell the king will say, oh, that's the dream I had, but he couldn't articulate it. So it's almost like subconscious. Same for Joseph. So I've been praying about it. And once you start praying about it, you know that there's going to be something in your environment that will start speaking to it. So, I mean, the idea for zero complex AI, I'm just going to be practical. We went to a client's meeting. On our way back, my friend had just opened a restaurant, and I forced my co-founders that we should go there, right? And they first of all abused me like, why are we here? Let's go back home. I was like, let's just sit down now. Like, we've not sat down together like this in a long time. And I think Benga just mentioned, by the way, there's this thing I've been thinking about, I've been experimenting. And he specifically said, guy, I'm experimenting. I did not say it's a startup or a business idea or anything. And I know you now, you go and take it and go and run with it. But notice I've been praying. So my heart was drawn to what he was saying. And it was like, oh, I think this will be the future. I think we should play in this space. And somebody just said, maybe we should register this thing as a company. Or let's never register it. Let's even buy a domain name for it. And I think Benga said no complex. I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound right. So I think Shola now mentioned zero complex. So immediately we searched online and we registered zero complex. And Benga now showed us what he's thinking about, right? Which was like something similar to what we had done before for some clients, but because it's AI now. So just like a normal day that day, so the first thing I say is no man receiveth anything except it be given from God, right? So God is the source of everything. So I first thank God that the ability to think about this idea is from you. So I first go and thank God about it first. Then I now ask God, like, look, our thoughts are far from your thoughts, right? Our ways are far from your ways. So I'm bringing this. No, I'm not preaching. Please don't call me. I'm not preaching. Please, I beg you, in the name of God. So our thoughts are far from your thoughts. Our ways are far from your ways, right? So God, what is your intent and thoughts as regards this idea? So I spent time praying about it. But then I also asked God for this. Somewhere in the Bible says that this shall turn to my something as a result of a direct supply of the Spirit of Jesus. So this is my own typology. This is the way I analyze it. Bible says that until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness shall turn into fruitful field. So if a ground is dry, when you pour water, that's when you see what has been planted into that ground, right? So, and the Holy Spirit is like a type of water. So probably just spend more time praying about that idea, right? And because you are praying about it, in my own case, so I now start realizing that I just read a blog or I watch a YouTube video or I'm in a conversation, like a mundane conversation, like mundane. But once the person is talking, I'm seeing another thing, like, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, then I now realize that there's probably been a relationship in my life that I met 20 years ago that, maybe this is why God brought that person into my life. Then I call the person, oh, this is what we're doing. What do you think? Then I call Shola a lot. Shola is my other co-founder. I call him a lot. Like, guy, this is what I'm thinking. And by God's grace, Shola is tolerating me. So he listens to what I'm saying. Say, guy, I just write it down. Of course, I don't write it down. Right. I just forget sometimes. But I now talk to Shola, or maybe I talk to Benka. We now brainstorm. But at the background, we are still praying about it. Right. And so that's how Zero Complex AI started, right? And fast forward a few months after, we saw somebody sent me a link to apply for a competition, right? And if generally my perception about tech competition is they already have their winner, but applying, or I just think that this is not you are not the kind of person that will win, so don't bother. And I don't know what happened to me that day. I just filled it, I just applied, and I forgot about it. And I just got an email. You have been selected. They've narrowed it down to 100. We'll let you know if you make the next 50. No, so all of you already know. Should be all of us. We know ourselves. We know who to give it to. I think it was when we got to the next 50. I now told my co-founders, you people, I submitted something a while back in case they call us, right? From 30 to 10. And I think the first check that we got was when I sent my deck to the organizers. The first person that read it, like, I like what you're doing. I want to invest in it. I was like, well, I've not even registered the company. Like you could see how it wasn't like I didn't structure it. It was more like God pushed me into it, and I realized, okay, I'm standing on holy ground here. Let me be conscious of the fact that do you get? So from there like that. But you still have to keep praying because it's tough, and product market fit. You still have to back it up with prayer. But at then you're now conscious. You know how to now go invest in knowledge, ask questions, meet people, you make adjustments here and there. I don't know. Did I answer your question? I did. Okay. Clap for me.
So I have a question also for you. So you mentioned that you mentioned like a very wonderful, fantastic co-founder family that you have. And for, let's say, a person here trying to delve into entrepreneurship now, and they're at the stage where they are thinking of getting a co-founder, on the journey, what were like the qualities you saw in these guys that made you think that, let's build businesses together? Let's do life together.
Okay, so we didn't sit down one day to say let's be co-founder, right? So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that question. Shola and I have been friends since Unilag days, right? So I've known Shola for a long time. Went to Unilag together. We just had the same circle of friends. We used to do a lot of things together. But I've always known Shola to be is intelligent and is very, very skillful when it comes to design, right? So I think, to be honest, I don't, let me not try and be giving you aspire to perspire. we stumbled into a lot of all these things, right? I met Benga in Covenant. Yes, I remember Shola and I did a design for one of these programs in church. Yes, Surulere Cell. But I've heard about him. I've heard about the Benga Guru, right? And I think we walked into Surulere Cell and he just stopped and he was like, who did this design? And we started talking. And we just clicked immediately, right? And then, so we had separate companies then. So our company then, we didn't have office space, but Benga had this office. So I just used to come there and work. Maybe I'll go and for a client meeting, I'll come back to Benga's office, just sit down and work and just and things like that. Then we now started taking projects together. Then I remember that day we were in front of the office and I just said, guy, this thing we're doing solo, let's merge together. I promise you, that's how it started. And Benga was like, you know what, let me think about it. You talk to Shola about it. And I mean, I knew Shola was going to agree anyway because he's my co-founder. Like, guy, I think we should merge with Benga. Let's be more, formidable so we can take on bigger projects. And that's how it started. So it wasn't like, I need to sit down, write list of characteristics. For me, it wasn't like that. Right.
Thank you so much. I think we'll just take about 2 more questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chigozie. I'm a student. I'm studying architecture in Yaba Tech. So my question is a general question, so either of you can answer it. How do you move with the cheese when there are people stopping the cheese from moving?
Context, please.
Yeah, in the sense that, okay, so I'm a student and there are situations where there are designs, futuristic designs, where you are trying to design something sustainable. And then your lecturer sees it and is like, what's this? This is crap. Like, he compares your work with what is now. Like, how would I put it? So there are normal building designs where you have this normal triangle roof and let me put it out. But then someone comes up with like a curve or a wave, like using that type of thing to design his roof. But then the lecturer sees it and is like, this is crap. So what do you do in that type of situation where you are trying to go with the trend? You're trying to see like how things will be later on. But then there are people pulling you back and tell you to be here, be now. That's my question. Thank you.
Chairman. Okay, so are you saying in the context of your schoolwork? And so, Chairman, what's the objective now? Like, is to graduate and pass, Sabi? And when you pass, you can innovate on whatever you want. And so, like, you don't have to, obey considered authority. Do you get? So if what is want is this, just do it and move on with your life. I don't know. Is that the?
I agree because obey constituent authority. Do what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and then you do your thing on the side. I had a friend who, I think in Covenant then, we were doing 3D design, and this guy had already gone. He had learned everything he had to learn, and he created the design. And then the lecturer came to his screen and I was like, this is not what I wanted you to do. I gave him an F, straight up. And his work was like 100 times better than every other person's work, right? So do what they asked you to do, learn on the side, become better on the side, and you can offer your services on the side to the people that are interested in what you're doing, right? So,
and going back to what Mrs. Olayenka said, working with bosses, just it's a phase, it's a season. Clap for us now.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Tomide. I'm a business person. So my question is this. I've always known that working with mentors is just about you. Sometimes these people are very busy people, so you probably need to be reading up on their materials, learning some things. But I've come to a place that people have told me actually, I contested it, but I realized that that's the truth. So that you actually need to actually meet them because sometimes you need some technical things that, of course, this is the space you want to be, but they are already there, and they can see the outlook of the future and tell you what is and what is not. So, given that these people are actually busy, how can you have that kind of relationship?
I can answer that question comfortably. When did Chelsea win Champions League? Their first one, 2005, Abby? No, the first Champions League. Was it 12? Okay, so in 2012, Covenant Yaba had a seminar and they brought someone called Mr. Bolaji Olagunju to come and speak. I think I was still in university then. I sat at the back, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I was so impressed by what he said, right? And till today, I still remember everything that he said. And I just made a mental note, like, if I ever want to go into entrepreneurship, this is someone I want to have as my mentor. Now, I did not meet Mr. Bolaji physically, right? And I met him at the car park here, like 5 years ago or thereabouts, before COVID, at the car park, Yaba here. And I bumped into him. He comes to, to the best of my knowledge, he comes to Yaba Church. I could have lobbied, I could have, and I just bumped into him and introduced myself. Oh, my name is this one. I heard you speak way back. I was like, that's good. Let's keep in touch. You see that keep in touch? It did not physically happen until I think a year or 2 years after. Right. Now, I just flew in from Abuja. I was with him yesterday. Right. First of all, our Christians, right? Pray to God to open up in his own divine intelligence how you will meet your mentor. That's one. Because once you start using gra, you eventually lose out. Everybody that is my mentor today, I never lobbied for it. Right. Somewhere in the Bible says that when they saw the grace upon you, they extended the hand of fellowship. That's my own philosophy in life. I must get to a point where even you're my mentor, you must know that it's a privilege and an honor for you to mentor me. Should you understand? I remember when I first when we announced our fundraising, one of my mentors called me, come to my office. And for the first time, he hugged me to say, hey, now you're in business. Sit down. I need to tell you the next phase, what you should do, what you should not do. Right. So look at it from what can I do that will make my mentor want to mentor me? And because even that mentor too is looking for, every mentor needs somebody that understands the pulse of people below him so that's to connect. That's one. They're also looking for people of value because they have a short time and they have so much to do. So they don't want to waste resources. They want to mentor somebody that you would apply whatever they say and they can see tangible results. So in those spaces, I had to work on myself. And also I had to pray, ask God for wisdom. Because you can say you want to get close physically to your mentor. Do you have the wisdom to manage that relationship? You might not. You might just go there and just fumble it and the door is just shut on you. In fact, you'll have regretted meeting the person physically. Maybe you were sitting down, reading their books or following them. At least you don't know whether you'll be rejected or not. But now you have been rejected, you have to first of all deal with it, So my own advice is then also spend time praying for your mentors, genuinely from your heart. When you spend time praying for people that are above you, there's the likeness they have towards you. There's a favorable disposition they will have towards you. But sometimes people complain, oh, this mentor is not giving me access. Chairman, you can intercede for the mentor. He doesn't even need to know. Right? And when you start interceding for that mentor, you start picking things up and say, oh, I need to cover this person in this area. This person, you just, once you're praying for somebody, you will know. I don't know, for me, I just know the next thing to pray for that person. I just know in a certain way, right? So that's sorry, is off tangent to what the answer you want to hear, but I think that's the hack to maintaining a mentor and mentee relationship where everybody has mutual respect for each other. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Thank you so much. So we'll go to the last question.
Thank you.
The last question.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Godswivel Akam. So my question is for you, Kende. What advice would you give to someone who left the workforce to focus on their business or be an entrepreneur due to unforeseen circumstances and without having financial staying power?
Then go back. I did it now. When I finished Screenet, I went to Flutterwave. It's not hard. It's not. Let's stop glamorizing entrepreneurship. If it's not working, pack up and go. Like, it's not hard. Do you get? That's the way I see it too. It's not hard now. It's not that deep. If it's not working, move on, because it is the place of work that purpose is defined, right? So in that place that you are in, you will see another thing you need to do, and you see where you made mistakes, where you need corrections and things like that. It was a blessing that even though I didn't stay for long, but that I worked in Flutterwave, helped me on how to build a global company. First of all, waking up every day, going to Flutterwave, seeing GP and everybody, and this thing is possible in Nigeria. In fact, the first time when I met GP, and I met him before when Flutterwave was starting, and I'm like, in 8 years, somebody built something that is over $1 billion. It means it's possible in this country. So that was a strong motivation for me to say, okay, so there's no harm in going back. That's the way I see it though. If it's not working, pack it, dust your CV, and there's a way you will package your CV that, look, I remember when I joined Flutterwave, GB was like, he's a builder. He understands what it means to build with little or no resources. So it's a perfect fit for what we do, that he wanted in Flutterwave. And I had people fight for me to say, look, this guy has bootstrapped a company from 0 to XXX revenue year on year. He can deliver what we want him to deliver in Flutterwave. And so it's a skill set. Whether you failed in business, you have learned how to build a business that fails. So when you go into your next business or anything, if somebody is telling you, for example, now, if somebody comes and say, I just launched a mobile app and I want to spend 10 million naira on digital market as a chairman, that money, just throw it, because you waste money. Why? Because I've learned over the years what works and what doesn't work. So failure is not a bad thing. Do you get? God now created man, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve disappointed him. Okay, Noah too, flood. Look at the iterations God did. He started with Adam. It's iteration now. It's not iteration. He did one business. It did not work. He learned. Remember Genesis 1? That was not when God created. He said, and God, he started all over. Created Adam and Eve. Who disappointed him. Product market fit did not really work. He made shifts. He moved to Noah. Product market fit did not work. Flood. Another one. Until what? We go to Jesus. Jesus was product market fit. And he's working today. So who are you not to fail? In fact, if you don't fail, I might be wrong, but your first business idea might not be the one that will give you the breakthrough. And I've listened to plenty documentary, even the ones that we think that they are overnight success. Go and watch. They probably did something when they were much younger that did not work. So maybe it's the second or the third time that worked. So, and in that period, if you're in Nigeria, my brother will get a 9 to 5, except you're a trust fund kid or somebody's financing it. That's my own advice. Please clap for me now.
Thank you so much, Oriofe and Kendi. So on this note, we're wrapping up. And I would like you guys to just give us one word you like the people to, leave with as we wrap up this session. One word, one phrase that you want them to remember.
If I would say something, grace is always involved. Through my journey in life, through all the things that I've done, I think God's grace has always helped because everything I've done, it was always somebody fighting or referring me. I think this person is good enough. I think this person is good enough. Apart from my skills or what I had learned, somebody was always there to say, I think this person is good enough to work for you. I think this person is good enough to work with you. So I think that's what I would say.
Always ask God for mercy. Mercy is the game changer. Mercy, right? If you ever ask me what's that one prayer point you should pray, is God have mercy upon me, right? So mercy covers knowledge gap, covers favor. Just ask God for mercy, So that's my last bit.
Thank you so much.
Clap for them now. I think quickly Wilma, please, a minute. Let's have a group photograph of all the speakers in the two breakouts. Real fair, please, off stage. Christy, Debola. Okay, so off stage, please. We'll have a group photograph. Let's clap for them. Whilst they are taking their pictures, let's do our own. How was it? One word. How was it? Fire, inspiring, insightful. Oh yeah, one word. Enlightening. I heard awesome here. Oh yeah, one word don't finish. Interesting. One word. Packed. I heard heavy. Motivating here. Which other one? Game changer. Hey. Okay, thank you, everyone. Before we go, we have a token of appreciation, and I'll be calling up campus pastor, Pastor PJ, like who will call her, or Pastor. Let's clap now. Let's keep clapping.
So you knew. Don't mind them. I don't know what they're talking about. So on behalf of the Covenant Nation Yaba and the career team, first of all, she's my very good friend. Let me farms. And he's my which one should I call you?
My leader.
Is my aburo. I want to thank them very much. I mean, It means a lot. I called them out of the blues and they took our invitation. We are very grateful. The Lord bless you all. And I'm sure it has been impactful. I was upstairs and I was downstairs. I ran away from downstairs because by the time people started speaking that English, we did not understand. But man, upstairs was fun. So if you were not upstairs, please get the recording. And if you are not downstairs, can get the recording if you understand the English you're speaking. So thank you very much. Thank you, Olayinka. Thank you. So on behalf of the Covenant Nation, Yaba, and the career team, I don't know, I should be presenting it to them. Wait. So it's moving the cheese. Thank you for your wealth of wisdom. Thank you for enlightening time together. And we say, God bless you. Thank you. So our tech bros, Uncle Kenny, I used to call him Uncle Kenny. Thank you very much. No, I'm not giving you now. Why are you taking it back? Thank you for coming. Kenny doesn't like going for this kind of meetings too much, so we pulled him here, and we appreciate you greatly. Thank you for coming. I can hug you, Abby. Okay, so I want to do something. I don't want to talk. See, I'm already talking. So we have a career team, and I want to thank them for this wonderful gathering. I mean, I had nothing to do with it, so I just want to call them up. See, it's not easy to plan something. No, it's not easy at all. So when I saw them, when I came this morning, and I saw their face squeeze, I said, it's good. You have come into leadership. What's that? What am I gonna get enough food? Please, let's don't go anywhere, career people. Come and stand here. You people cannot do that. Come here. Come. It won't take the wait. They are my people. Please just appreciate them as they come forward. Want to thank them for a wonderful time. Wow, these people ran away from me. You guys ran. Please come. Don't let me speak English. They ran. They ran. And today is our birthday too, Debola. So please help me appreciate them. They did a wonderful job. And you can go. Don't worry, you can go. Thank you everyone for coming. I can hand over the mic now. Should I have done my work?
So you not clap for our pastor. I'll lock you inside there. You not go home. We are done, right? But I just want to hear from you. You are all bold. You heard what you was shared. If you did not hear what was shared, you heard what I said. Your work will speak for you. Me, I had amplifier. Remember, I'll carry speaker. I'll carry this mic that I'm holding. I'll carry empty pot. You know when you hit empty pot, not this one. You put this pot people are using nowadays. What do you call it? Non-stick. No. I'll carry that aluminum pot so that when I hit it, bang, 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 you will hear it. So that if my work is not speaking, my noise will speak. So it's time. You don't know, your next employer might be here seeing how good you are. So who wants to share? What was that one moment that... Are you raising your hand? I should close. It's signaling me. My glass did not go that far. I see hand there, so I'm going. Thank you.
Okay, so I think one thing that I got from, I was in the entrepreneurship and tech space, and one thing that I got is from moving with the cheese is be bold. Because the truth is that there will always be fears, there will always be things to worry about, but you also need that audacity to move. And one thing that Kende also said is sometimes when it's time for you to move on, don't tie a lot of emotions to things. The fact that you failed right now doesn't make you a failure. If one thing, it's that you will use those skills that you've learned to move into the next thing, and who knows, your big break will come through that.
Clap now. You know, share, person share, you the old clap. Who else wants to share? Okay, I see a hand there.
Hello everybody. My name is Titi. Okay, so coincidentally, the two speakers said the same thing. They both said that don't be scared of failure. When you fail, you learn from it and you pick it up from there. So that's something I'm taking away from this session today.
Thank you. One hand. Don't tell me it's tech people again.
Good morning, everyone. I was in the tech side. Okay, so one thing I learned today was that whatever we find ourselves doing in life, we should let our grace speak for us. That we don't necessarily have to lobby people to find favor. That when you let your grace speak for you, that you just find people and opportunities coming from different places that you didn't even think that they'll come from. Thank you.
Thank you. I see one last hand. I'm going to take her, and then we'll be out of here.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So one of the things I learned was two things. One is I went upstairs, be one person that volunteers, be ready to volunteer. So I got my job, my first job in 2023 because I volunteered. I wanted to intern. So I asked the organization for internship, but they gave me a job. So you should be ready to volunteer. Then secondly, the first speaker said something about preparation. You have to always be prepared. I was talking in my organization, my office 2 weeks ago, and somebody said, when I was in school, I'm done with reading. And I was like, no, you have to always be prepared to learn something new. And so when she said it, always be prepared, I thought of 3 certifications that I was supposed to do since 2024 that I just left, and I'm just going to pick it up. So always be prepared, and that's the word I learned.
Thank you, everyone. I feel like I shared initially that one thing that we've taken out of here, whether you've shared publicly or not. The most important thing is not that you came here, sat down for almost 3 hours. That is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you are able to put at least one thing, into use, implement. For me, I'm at this stage of my life where I feel ideas are overrated. What is most important is execution, because the more you execute, the more life begins to, play out for you. Everybody has ideas. So let's not be those people. And like we said, the cheese is moving. The cheese will continue to move, whether you like it or not, whether you do something or not. The cheese will what? Move. But I think with all we've heard today, we should be able to at least have an idea of what to do in you get messages from us or emails. So always check your mailbox or your text, or check your email. At least you would let you know more. Just simply following us on our social media channels just to keep in touch. We started with prayer. It's church. We'll end with prayer. Who wants to pray for us? Who feels led? You feel led. Feromi, close us.
Let's be on our feet. In Jesus' name. Father, we thank you for this gathering. Thank you for all that we have learned. Thank you for the one word that everyone has gotten. We ask for grace to run with it in Jesus' name. as we go, Lord, we ask that your presence go with us. As we go home, Lord, everybody gets back to their destination safely in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name we pray.
Remember, take pictures outside with the backdrop, post, chat, send feedback to us. We'd like to hear from you. See you in service tomorrow. First service 6:30 a.m. Second service 8:30 a.m. happening here, 400 Abbott Macaulay Way. God bless you. See you next time.